The various tapes on this cassette have been made by Brent Cragun.
Hello everyone, this is Brent Cragun from Marshall Friends wishing a happy Mother's Day to his wonderful mother. And Mother, I hope that you do have a wonderful day on this important day in your life, Mother's Day. I hope this tape reaches you in time that you may be able to listen to it for Mother's Day. As usual, time has gone by so fast that Mother's Day slipped right up on me, and I won't say I haven't had the chance, because you don't get the chance. I haven't taken the chance or the opportunity to make a tape or anything until just now. So at the last minute I'm trying to run off a tape that I may send to you for Mother's Day. But I do hope that you have a wonderful Mother's Day. I really haven't thought too much about what I'd like to say on this tape. As you know, I haven't sent my weekly letter this last week, so maybe I could remark on a few things that I would have done in my letter. I have two of your letters here, and I know some of the things that you told me that I would like to make a remark on. First off, concerning Dave, I received a letter from Dave about almost 2 weeks ago. He told me also about his companion and about the new position that he's been put into. I was quite excited for him because this will give him a wonderful opportunity to grow. Out here in the mission field, a lot of times junior companions don't really have the chance to grow because they can grow, what I mean spiritually and also mentally, but they don't grow as fast as our seniors do because the seniors take the opportunity to do most work himself. And this will give David the opportunity to really take responsibility. Out here in the mission field we have a position, out in our mission, a position called DJL. And this is District Junior Leader. As you know, I was DJL for 3 months in the Monte Cristo Motivators. And it's at that time where the junior companion really has his first real responsibility. At that time you're a co-senior, and it's your job to take care of the other junior companions in your district. And I think this is a fine thing here in our mission because it gives the younger missionaries a chance to take on responsibility. And some missionaries really need that in order to progress. I know a lot of the missionaries that are leaving now are hoping to go to the World's Fair. David also mentioned in his letter that he hopes I'll come by the World's Fair when I get off my mission because he thinks he'll be there at that time, and he says that would be wonderful for us to work together. And I think it would be mighty fine if I could spend a day or two there helping out at the fair and maybe helping translate for some French people that might be coming through at that time. It's hard for me to believe that it's snowing there again. We are having beautiful weather here. As you know, the French Riviera is right close to where I am. In fact, you might count the plage here, the seashore here in Marseille as the Riviera. It's not exactly the same thing, but along the coast there, that's the Riviera. And people are out swimming now, out sunning themselves. We did something very different for us as missionaries last Saturday. As you know, it's against the rules for us to go out on a boat or go in airplanes or anything like that. But as a result, we received special permission from President Martin. And last Saturday we went to Chateau d'If and saw where the Count of Monte Cristo lived and how he escaped, and saw all the prison there. It was very interesting. You've all heard of the book by Charles Dickens, The Count of Monte Cristo. Well, this is where he was supposedly put in prison. But it was really funny. All our settlers, excuse me, I just got to eat and I got something in my throat. Our last elders was on a small boat. Also, there was two sister missionaries that are here in Marseille, and it was pretty rough that day. The sea was, and there was waves coming right over the boat, and everybody was wet and laughing. Wow, we were having the time of our lives. Just to look at the sister missionaries with their hair, just water just running out of their hair, and this water is so salty. You just taste salt. It just stings. It was really funny. It was quite different for us as a district to be doing something like that. You asked in your last letter why you haven't received a publication of the record. Well, since President Martin took over the mission, that has been discontinued. And, well, that's been about 3 months now, but I'm sure you haven't received any record because he has stopped the publication of that. So, from what they tell me, there's a possibility that they will be sending out these weekly reports, that they will be putting all 4 of them together and sending them to the parents. I don't know if this is true or not. If you do receive some word concerning that, I would appreciate knowing that you are receiving them. We paid for all that stuff, but the way it looks, we're not going to get what we asked for. Robert, Mother has asked again about Robert Lockwood. He is doing much better now. He is in good spirits, really. The last 3 weeks, his parents have been on vacation. They bought him a new Mercedes-Benz. He's been touring Europe, and so he's been able to stay here, and we've been together quite often, and having a good time. His spirit's really up where it should be. He's really sharp. I should think a lot of him. You mentioned here in your letter that you weren't surprised to hear that there's a possibility that I would need to buy a bike. Well, as you know by now, you surely got the letter asking for more money. As you know, it's more than a possibility now. We have received the orders, and I'll have to explain what just happened. As you know, I was in the process of talking about buying a bike, and I finished this part of the tape already once, and I was on the second side, and I pushed the wrong button, so I wasn't recording on the second side, and I was at the same time I was erasing what I'd always said on this side. So now I've got to go back and try and pick this up here, and from where the tape was cut off and erased. So I hope that you can make sense out of what's coming off in this tape. I listened just before the tape was cut off, and I was talking about buying a bike. I've already bought my bike. I've had it for about a week now. I bought a Velo Solex. It's not exactly a bike. It's a small bike with it's a bike with a small motor on it. Most of the others bought bikes, but I'm sure happy that I bought a Velo Solex. Most of them are pretty jealous now. The thing is, I only paid about $10 or $15 more than most of their bikes. Most of their bikes cost around cost between $55 and $65. I paid around $75 for my Velo Solex with insurance and everything. My companion, he paid $110 for his bike. As you can see, that he bought quite a nice outfit. But I have to wait every few minutes, stop and wait for him to catch up with me, because my little bike, it really moves out. It climbs hills fairly well, and I'll send you a picture of my Velo Solex as soon as I get a chance. It's quite different. I didn't listen far enough ahead to see whether I had already explained why we were buying bikes. But as you know, first I think I already said that the Lambrettas that we had, the bigger outfits, they were not only expensive, but they were quite dangerous. The elders driving them not exactly like they should be. There's an elder in Geneva right now. Yes. Excuse me for this interruption. As I was saying, there's an elder in Geneva right now. He has a broken back, his arm broken about 3 places, his teeth are knocked out, and half his face was torn away in an accident that they had in Lyon. Lyon's known for scooter accidents. There's sure been a lot of bad ones there. I hope this takes us up to where you can turn the tape over to the other side. Greetings from the big city of Marseille. For a change today, we don't have much sun, but usually it's very beautiful here this time of year in Marseille. I think I have been very fortunate to have had the opportunity to serve this part of my mission here in Marseille, because during the winter I've really had it soft as far as being out in the weather. We've had a little rain lately, but other than that, the weather here has been very nice. It has been cold at times, but there's been no snow and not very much rain. As you know, in most of the parts of France, it's quite cold and there's lots of rain and snow up north. But being here in the Midi, I've really been fortunate. Last night at about 3 o'clock, 3:30, we got back from Geneva, back from the conference. And I think first off, it would be proper for me to thank Mother and Dad for the opportunity that I have now to make this tape. It's because of their efforts, their love, and their money that I've been able to buy my recorder, and now I hope to be able to make tapes quite often so that I can share with you the joys, the experiences, some heartbreaks that we have out here in the mission field. We had a very wonderful trip, very fine conference there in Geneva yesterday. Before telling you about the conference trip, I would like to excuse myself for not writing more often. As you know, it's been almost 2 weeks since I wrote a letter. I'm sorry about this, but getting ready for this conference trip, it has been very hard to get everything done that was possible. It was necessary to have done before we could go to the conference trip. To take almost 3 days out of your working schedule, out of your proselyting schedule, has been very difficult because we are fortunate to have quite a few investigators and some very fine people coming along at this time. And therefore, we have really been hustling, trying to get everything ready so we could go on the temple trip. And I haven't had a chance to write any letters for the last almost 2 weeks now. So I hope you will excuse me. I hope that maybe this tape will help make up for it. To go on the temple trip, we left Thursday morning at 6:30, and we covered a part of France that I've never been through before. We went up, we took the shortest route, which took us through Grenoble, some of the other pretty cities. As you remember, Grenoble was where Judy went to school for 2 or 3 weeks, 2 summers ago. And I was quite happy to have the opportunity to see Grenoble and to see that part of France. As usual, when we got into Switzerland, as soon as you cross the border, you can feel a different spirit. There's something completely different about France and Switzerland. I was very happy to have the opportunity to go back into Switzerland, go back into Geneva. Geneva is such a beautiful city, and with a big, beautiful lake right there, and the rivers going in the middle of town. It's very, very pretty, very clean city. It amazed me to find the number of American people that are there. I've known that there was, every time I've been there, I've met a lot of Americans. But yesterday and the day before, it was almost unbelievable the number of Americans that we ran into. In the Grand Passage, that's a big store there in Geneva. On the top floor, all the top floor was devoted to what they call Live Like an American. Live Like an American. And it was very interesting to go up there and see all these Western displays, all kinds of American foods, American goods, to see lawnmowers, everything that we have, all the luxuries that we have at home. And even the Swiss people were just flocking in there to buy this sort of stuff and to see exactly the different kinds of things that we had. They had quite a thorough display there, and it was quite interesting for us to wander through there, also to hear the many people that were speaking English. Switzerland is, as you know, especially Geneva, is a town, international, and whenever we the missionaries want to see the new style of cars in the States, all we have to do to see this is to go to Geneva. because there's new Buicks, Oldsmobiles, Cadillacs, Fords, Chevys. There's everything you want there. They have all kinds of new cars. It's almost an American city. You might say that it's an American city. And yesterday I had the opportunity to see a Rolls Royce. It's the first time I've ever been up close to a Rolls Royce. I've seen it several times. And as you know, Rolls Royce is probably the world's best car, best built car. And my companion and I got kind of a big kick out of looking at Rolls Royce and walking around it and realizing how many thousands of dollars worth of car we were standing by. But we got into Geneva about 4:30 Thursday afternoon, and they gave us that evening to do what we wanted to do. We weren't supposed to get there until that night, but our zone counselor, he knew that a lot of us wanted to look for tape recorders, so some of the other others wanted to buy cameras and different things, and so we arranged it so that the Monte Cristo zone and the media zone could get there around sometime during the afternoon so that we would have a chance to do the things that we needed to do. And this trip was very fun because of that, because we had the time to do the different things that we wanted to. Whenever the others go to Geneva, there's one place that everybody knows. That's called the Molenbeek. There in the Molenbeek, we can buy banana splits, hamburgers, all these different things that we can get at home. And the others, we go crazy when we get in there. It's really quite a deal. There was, out of the 230 missionaries that was there, you can bet that every one of them was there 2 or 3 times. While I was there, I had 3 banana splits. And you just don't get those kind of things here in France. So we really take advantage of the luxuries that we have when we go to Switzerland. We spent the night in what we call the caserne. It's, you might say, an old army barracks. I guess that's what it is. And there was 115 of us that slept there. It was quite nice. It was the bed that I had there surprised me. It was better than the bed that I sleep in every night here. The bed that I have here in Marseille is a fold-up bed. And it folds up into a couch, and it's got a bar that runs. Well, it's pretty miserable. But that's the luxury of being a missionary. While we were in Geneva, my companion and I were running around trying to find the recorder I wanted. I was thinking of buying a Telefunken, and I had actually already ordered one from our frère there in Geneva. But a Sony was supposed to be one of the best recorders made as far as small portable recorders go. And so when I got there, I met Elder Staley, if you remember. He came out with me. And he was telling me, he worked there in Geneva, and he was telling me about a shop that sold Sony tape recorders. And so we went over there, and as it ended up, I bought me a Sony. It's quite a nice tape recorder. It should more than suffice for my needs here in France. I hope to be able to bring this back to the States with me when I come home. I'd like to say something about the tape recorder. I don't know whether you have a 4-track tape recorder there, but my tape recorder plays 2 bands on each side of the tape. Therefore, I can make just exactly twice as much tape as we've been making. Now, I hope you have a machine to play there at home that can play this, because I'm going to record all 4 tracks today. And I can see the tape is just about out, so I'm going to turn to track 2 on this side of the tape. I'm still on this side of the tape. If you don't have a machine that can play this, then you'll just be able to hear side 1 and 3. You won't be able to hear 2 and 4. Worldwide. Yesterday at the conference, we had the opportunity of meeting President Martin and his wife. Up until now, we never had the chance to get to know them. But I knew I did. Of course, they're located there in Geneva, and we missionaries were all over the southern part, the western part of the eastern part of the never been able to see President Martin and his wife and make their acquaintance. And yesterday, also we were privileged with the visit of Apostle Mark E. Peterson and Apostle Ezra Taffet, and they both flew in for our conference, and as the busy men they are, they left immediately after. But we really had a wonderful conference. President Martin told us about his policies, about the way that he plans on running the mission, and helped us get better acquainted with what we can expect out of his direction. I'm sure that we're going to be able to progress, to continue to do a great work out here under his able direction. He and his wife are certainly fine and wonderful people. Yesterday, President Peterson had, as you know, as President Peterson, he was over all these missions in this part of Europe, and his headquarters is in England. But he had a lot of fine advice for us yesterday, and a lot of wonderful ideas. As you know, throughout the world, there's been a lot of people baptized, but there's been a very poor percentage of these people that stay active. And there's been several reasons because of this. There's been several different reasons. First, we might say that there was too many people that were taught fast and got in the water, and before they never had, the missionaries never had enough time to keep working with these people, to really to fellowship these people in like they needed to do. And therefore, a lot of these people fell away. And now we have a lot of wonderful programs. This has been coming for quite some time. We've had a fellowshipping program that we've been working with for several months now. Out of the 65 hours that we were supposed to, populating hours that we were supposed to have every week, they have been giving us 5 as a coaching time. More or less, this has kind of fallen away now, but up until now. But now, President Peterson yesterday gave us some wonderful ideas, also some fine instructions. There, also, we have 7 new lessons, which is kind of a new challenge for us. It's hard enough to get the 6 lessons done that we had before. Luckily, we don't have to memorize these lessons, but actually, we almost need them memorized to get them like they've got to be given. These are for after the baptism, but also before the baptism we have, you might say, 2 more lessons, because under this new program, if people are taught like they should be, and this new program is followed like it should be, we should have very few people drop out after the baptism. And I'm certainly 100% for the new program. Before, as you know, there in the States and also over here sometimes there was discussions, or you might call it 3 in 1. They would get 3 discussions in one, and really rush people in that were sharp. And then a lot of missionaries would move on to finding new people, because it's always been, I guess you shouldn't say statistics, but it has been a push to baptize a lot of people. Now we still want to baptize a lot of people, but we want our people to stay active. We always did, but the programs weren't really set up to give us this kind of production, you might say. So now we are really putting more of our efforts into baptizing families. And if there's a chance of, before, if we had one member of the family that was really sharp, we'd just push these people and got them in first and then tried to work with the family. But in a lot of cases, the family hasn't been coming in. Now, if we can hold the people up until we can get the family in with them, this is part of our new program. To baptize families, there's a mission in England that is having something like over 80% of their baptisms are done in families now. And this is really wonderful. There's no split families, there's no family problems this way. And this is one of our biggest problems here in France. Well, anywhere in the world is to cope with the family problems. I will explain a little later about the family problem that we're having right here, that I'm having with one of the people that I baptized, that Albertus and I was privileged to baptize. But as I said, we now have 7 new lessons. These are for after the baptism, which is a very good thing, to keep teaching these people for 7 consecutive weeks. The first new discussion we had is we explain what it is to be a Mormon, and we also have a new brochure to go with this. And this discussion, the next discussion, tells what are our organizations in the church. To explain exactly what the organizations are and what we have for every member of the family. Their discussions on the Holy Priesthood, so we can get them in Holy Priesthood as soon as possible. And our fourth discussion is on gospel in the home, which is very important. We have another brochure, Home and Family, to go with this one. These new brochures, they've come out with many new brochures that we've needed for a long time, like a brochure on the Godhead. It's very hard to tell from these Catholics and Protestants that God has a body of flesh and bones, as we know He has. And these traditional Catholics and Protestants, it's very hard for them to accept things like that. And with our funny American accents, it doesn't help things out all the time. Therefore, this new brochure will really help us to better explain this. Our fifth discussion is on church organization. And we also have another brochure to search the scriptures, is the name of this brochure, to help us help to keep these people reading and to keep them educating themselves about the church. Next discussion is on genealogical work and temple work. And with this one, we give a brochure why Mormons build temples. The seventh discussion is help the people understand better the tithing and the other obligations that we have, other things that we pay as members of the church. Help them understand why these things are all important. All in all, summing up what the conference had for us yesterday, we really have a great responsibility, more than we had before now, to work with these people. We want people to fall out before they're baptized rather than after they're baptized if they're going to fall out, which is a very good principle. There's been too many funny things going on throughout the world. I'm sure you've heard of them just like we have heard of them out here. Of course, at all these missionary conferences, all the English language is very hard for me now. Okay. At all these mission conferences, we have many things concerning our missionary work that are very important, very good for us. Surprisingly, yesterday our mission conference went over very fast. It wasn't a very long conference, and in a way that was a good thing. Everyone was quite tired, and as a result of that, it was good to get on our way home again. But I seem we're coming to the end of the tape again, so I'm going to put this back on track 3. I hope that you've been able to get this second track. You'll have to turn the tape over now. You've been able to pick up the second part of side 1 of that first side. On that side, if you haven't been able to listen to that on that side, I told all about the conference, and I hope you can find a recorder if you haven't already done so that can play that second part, because I told all about our trip to the conference. I've just taken a few minutes out to eat dinner and to read the letter that I just got from Mother. I have about 2 letters here, also the word letter that I need to make a few comments on, but I've been trying to review the different letters that I have so I can answer some of the questions that Mother has given me. I am always happy to get the word letter and to feel the spirit and enthusiasm that Mother has when she writes these word letters. They are certainly a big help to us here in the mission field, and also for us to know the things that are going on and the things that are happening around town there. Because, as you know, and as certainly I know, the home, there's no place like home. And we like to be kept current on what is happening there. There are so many things that I've been told in these last letters that I won't try to review very many of them. I'm quite concerned with the health of Joan. I'm sorry to hear that she's down again. The second part of this second side, I hope to I'm going to talk to David on that part of the tape. So I will talk to Dave further concerning the health of Joan. Also concerning the wonderful blessing that has come in his life and being called to serve on a mission. A mission surely gives someone a wonderful opportunity to get to know himself and to find out how capable he is, to humble oneself down to find out, you might say, even how incapable one is. And yesterday at the conference, we were certainly, the importance of our missionary work was certainly stressed, and the great responsibility that we have here as missionaries. I want to thank Mother for the wonderful letter that she wrote me on my anniversary. I guess you could call it an anniversary after being here 1 year. This time has certainly gone by fast. It's almost, at the conference yesterday, I had the opportunity to talk with the other elders and sisters that came into the mission field with me.
I think this is February
we were all
1964.
Time went by.
February
We were in the
1964.
mission field. Over a year now. Mother always has such wonderful remarks to make on these kind of events, and also she is always keeping me current on the things that happen at home, and I certainly love and appreciate her for this. Also in that same letter, Mother told me of an experience that some other missionary had. I'm sure that you know who I'm talking about. And she expressed upon me the importance that I have as to always help my companion, and make sure the companion's helping me, that no experience like this will ever come into a team of missionaries, into my team of missionaries. I was quite shocked, and also I felt very bad when I heard about the experience of Kenny. The devil certainly has his power. I've certainly seen the power of the devil since I've been here on my mission. As I said earlier, I would like to talk a little bit about what has happened to one of my contacts, not a contact, but as you know, Robert Laflorg. I talked about him quite often. I think the world of him. He has certainly been the best baptism, the most wonderful person, one of the most wonderful persons that I've met since I've been here in France. And I feel that it's a wonderful opportunity to have been able to work with other brothers and to baptize Robert. But as I've told you, his mother and dad they're millionaires. They come from Algeria, and they're here now, and they don't work. They're part of the many people that have been forced to leave their homes there in Algeria. Now they live in Cannes, while his mom and dad are completely against churches, completely against anything that is Christian. And they kind of thought that Robert's joining the church was just kind of some little pastime thing that he'd stumbled into it, that he would sharpen up, he'd wise up after a couple of months, but now after 3 months, they see that he's very serious in this decision that he has made to be baptized, and now they're really putting him through the test. His father is actually a tool of the devil in the things that he's been doing against Robert. Robert has had such a wonderful testimony, and 2 weeks after his baptism, he was made president of the MJM, the junior missionary, the member missionaries, and 3 weeks after that, that position was taken away from him, and he was made president of the SAM. In English, that's the Mutual. He was president of the Mutual 3 weeks after his baptism. But now he's had to give these jobs up. His folks are completely against the church. They are starting to come here to see that he doesn't come to church. They tell him that they will cut him off completely. They pay all his money while he is here as a student in the Faculty of Medicine, the College of Medicine here. And they're certainly doing everything they can to cut him off. This is a really serious problem to see what how determined they are to see that he does not continue in the church. And of course he is very concerned. The bad thing is that they are so set against what he is doing that I'm afraid the day will come when he must make his decision between the church and his family. And I only hope Robert has the intestinal fortitude to make the right decision. And I hope that I can continue to help him in making the decision that he must make, because the church is such a wonderful, wonderful way of life, the only way of life, and he realizes this, and I hope that the devil doesn't win in this case. We certainly plan to see that he doesn't. It's hard to actually tell how serious this problem is about Robert. I've had some wonderful experiences talking to him, praying with him. He has really been a testimony to me, just to see such a wonderful person. He's been he has been my, how would you say, my pay for being here on a mission, just to see the progress that Robert has made. And I just hope that we can continue, in the work. If something doesn't work out, who knows, you may have another son. Rather than let the devil win, I'd do anything, I'd give anything that I had to see that he went and kept his opportunity to work for his salvation here. Even if it meant sending him home, I don't know how that would work, but I know that you realize the importance of the gospel and that you would do anything in your power to help save Robert. I can't really express how much love I have for Robert, what a wonderful person he is. Also for the wonderful other members that we have here in Marseille. The opportunity that I've had to work with many members. My company, I have the privilege of working with another wonderful young man that I hope will be baptized at 29. After this conference, we'll have a great importance stressed on families, so we may try and hold him up a little bit so we can get his mother and dad in. This would really be wonderful to have these three people as the members of the church. The tape's about finished again. I would just like to say, Mother, don't worry about this little deal that we've got worked out. It's all taken care of. It looks like you're going to have to play the second part of this side anyway. And then I'll try to finish it off talking to Dave. Would you try and run it back? Talk to you. I was hoping to use this side to talk to David, but I know there's a few things I'd like to say yet. As usual, there's something I need. I hate to ask for anything else, but if it's possible, I would like to have 2 pair of white Levi's sent over. They cost about $8.50 a piece over here in France, which is really ridiculous. But being I'm here in Marseille and we're building a chapel, I need something to work in. I have a pair of French Levi's, which they are really ridiculous. They look so bad, but well, I've had them for over a year now, and I need something different to work in. So if you could send me a pair of white Levi's, 2 pair of white Levi's, maybe we'll send 2 as you send them, then I'll have them set for next summer. But waist 32 and length 31. I think these would fit me fine. There are several questions that Mother asked me that I haven't had a chance to answer. There's a couple that I remember. She remarked on that rug that I sent home, one with the big deer on it. I bought that from an Arab one day when I was with Elder Elder Bailiff and I, we had kind of a bad fault. Every time we got together, if we went through a marketplace or was out somewhere. He's an old cowboy from southern Utah, and we were both kind of Jews in a way. We just loved to get talking to people, and we would always end up buying something for about half the price they wanted for it. We just enjoyed talking to the people and chewing them down. Well, this guy wanted twice what I paid him for it, for this rug. a sweater I sent home. That was made for me by a member here. I also have another one that I wear to keep warm here during the winter. But that was made, it's handmade, but it's made on a machine. And she does the sewing on it also by hand. But as you can see, she does a very beautiful job. These are it's Sir Cirillo, same people that I spent Christmas with. Well, Mother also asked me about the money for my tape recorder. Well, as you can hear, I must have got it because I'm using the tape recorder now. I want to thank you again for the money, for the love and support that I receive and everything that I need over here. I won't take the time to talk anymore to anyone there in the family except Dave. I would like to say a few words to him before he goes on his mission. So maybe before at the end of this tape I could bear my testimony in French. And I would also like to say that I love you all there, and I thank you for your faith and prayers, for the help and support that you give me. Je veux vous dire aussi que je sais que je suis dans un grand travail, c'est-à-dire que il y a un grand travail pour nous les missionnaires ici en France et même partout dans le monde. Je sais que la véritable Église est encore ici sur la terre et c'est vraiment un grand privilège pour moi d'être ici comme missionnaire de cette Église, de la vérité. Je sais que Jésus-Christ était un prophète, qu'il a été appelé par Dieu comme un prophète par l'intermédiaire du prophète Jésus-Christ. Jésus-Christ a encore restauré son véritable Église ici sur la terre. Je sais que nous avons un prophète à la tête de l'Église aujourd'hui, le prophète David McKay. Et je sais qu'il a vraiment parlé avec Dieu. Je sais que nous avons un grand travail à faire ici en France, même partout dans le monde. Et nous avons une grande responsabilité comme missionnaires de trouver les gens qui sont sincères, qui veulent savoir davantage concernant l'Église mormone, qui cherchent la vérité. Et j'ai dit ces quelques paroles au nom de Jésus-Christ. Amen. Now I'd like to spend the rest of this day talking to Dave. So this is just for Dave, and I don't want anyone else to hear this unless Dave wants them to hear it. But this is just a part of the tape for Dave. In fact, I think it would be better just for Dave to hear this. Thank you.
I'd like to wish you a very happy Mother's Day. I hope that you receive this tape in time. Here in France, it's the end of another Sabbath day, and it's just after 10 o'clock, and I'm going to try and make a small tape to send home to wish you a very happy Mother's Day. Doesn't seem like very long ago I was telling you Happy Mother's Day, and I guess this makes the third one since I've been on my mission. Shows how fast the time goes by. Well, anyway, there's several things I'd like to talk about on this tape. Maybe I could start out by asking a question. I've wondered why I haven't received any news from Dave. One of the missionaries says that the fair has opened up again, so I suppose that it was probably for this reason that I haven't heard anything, as I suppose he is quite busy getting things ready, was quite busy getting things ready for the opening, and I'm sure he's bushed with the work that they're going to have there in the fair. But next time you're writing, write and tell him hello and tell him to get on the stick and write me a letter. I'd write him another letter, but I'm not even sure he got my birthday letter that I sent him. I only had his old address. I didn't have the address where he's living now. I lost this address, so maybe you could send me his present address, and I could send him another letter. I don't know why I talk about writing letters, because I hardly ever get around to writing letters as it is. I've been going to write so many letters to different people here in France and to a couple of people there at home, and time goes by and we just never get around to all these things. Since I've last written, there has been several changes here in in France here in good old Grenoble. As I told you some time ago, Elder Hess was to go home. Elder Hess left last Thursday. He's making a trip around Europe before he goes home. But my new companion is quite interesting. He's one of the old elders that we worked with for some time, old Elder Mansfield from Salt Lake. Old Elder Hess and I, we both know him.